So if you're under 18, please don't watch this show. All right, and also, if you're over 18 and you're easily offended, please don't watch this show. I don't want to hear your bullshit.
Hi, I'm Jett.
My name's Jordan, and you're watching Lock In.
So what do we think about guys who use feminism or pretend to be feminists as a ploy to get laid? Because I mean, that seems to come up a lot these days.
Drives me mental.
Okay.
Drives me mental. And I'm deliberately not wearing a top right now so I can drive my point home.
Can I say, amazing rack.
Yeah.
Isn't it great? Do
I'm
you know
the
how much
straightest
free
woman
shit
that I
get
know,
for
and I'm
this
like, nice.
fucking rack?
Nice.
It's freaking awesome.
Amazing.
And it drives me mental because I get this all the time. People, because I'm a known porn star, known sex object. People are like, do you care that people are objectifying you? And I'm like, how? I'm my own boss. I'm objectifying me. My bank balance, you know, is
I think they're misunderstanding the word objectifying. When you get to choose to do it, you're like...
Exactly.
For me, my favourite, if I'm on stage and I can see those guys that are pretending to be feminists to get laid, I can smell them from the stage and I'm like, motherfucker, you're next. Because they will sidle up next to you at the bar and go, I love the way you do cock jokes. I love the way you pretend that you really love sex, but really, does anyone really listen to you when you're talking? You're like, motherfucker, shut up, bend over and take it. Just fucking take it.
Exactly. For the women, just for this part, does it sort of turn you off men completely?
Nah.
You don't think you sort of got that in the back of your mind
No,
every
I'm a grown
time?
woman. I can send immediately. You sense what their game is. Everyone's got game of some kind. Some people's game is they're telling the truth. But when I see like I'm a feminist, I'm on your side. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna pin you down until you cry.
I don't know. I'm
Amazing.
like me being openly gay. I don't dig it, but I just feel sorry, and I feel a little bit angry because I'm like, how dare you attempt to rescue me? Like, don't as a man tell me you're going to save me from any kind of fucking patriarchy.
Yeah.
It's like, get back in your fucking box and I'll tell you when you can support the feminist movement. Don't get up above and try to, oh no, Madison, don't pull your fucking tits out. And it's like, they're my tits.
And you two look like very strong, independent women. So,
Yeah,
I mean, that comment works, doesn't it?
It's the second time I've said it today, but I prefer my wolves in wolf's clothing. Like, just be, you know, don't pretend to be super sensitive and then go like, hey, and by the way, can I fist you? Like, that's not quite the same as the, I'm going to rescue you. By the way, can I choke you till you pass out?
That's exactly the point. Is those guys that want to try and be, oh, I'm so feminist, I'm all about your rights. They want to get in your frigging pants, and they're the ones that are like, oh, I just noticed you're single, so like I'm next. And it's like, I'm sorry, but my dating life is not a brothel fucking lineup. I'm not going to pick the next dude that says he's available. I have some freaking choice, and I need to like you.
And Zara, how do you feel about this?
Well, we're having a chat about how guys, the only reason why they befriend a woman is for sex, and it's kind of like, you know, they'll put all this work in, they're like complaining about being in the friend zone as if like, you know, women are their property and you can't just be, you know, I've kind of like grown up with lots of women as friends, and it's kind of, you sort of see these guys' agendas, and they should just be authentic about what their intentions are, because people appreciate that. Women appreciated being spoken to like people, not like they're idiots, because then, you know, and it's just kind of like this weird, there's always some smug guy in the corner of a party that loves the smell of his own farts, talking about feminism and energy, and it's just like, you
I
just
love
know
the
he's-
buzzwords though.
you know,
I like that. I'm going to
it's
quote
like-
this author and I'm going to use this quote, and
And
then you
it's
call them
just
up and
like-
they're like, oh fuck, I didn't expect a fucking homework. Like, I actually don't know enough
I
about
didn't read
this.
the book, I just gargled at the fountain of knowledge. Don't take any of it
I
in.
really thought I'd be getting my cock sucked by now. Can you stop asking me questions?
Yeah, but that's
Don't be a snake in, sorry to
That's,
fuck it
yeah,
over.
no,
Snake
that's,
in the grass?
Don't be a snake in the grass and have the wrong intentions. Like, you know, just be clear about your intentions. Like people appreciate it.
I would
It's
prefer a
not-
dude
and then,
walk up and
like,
go,
how
can I
many-
fuck you? Well, I
I
would
would
fuck
prefer
you.
that as well, I really would.
Because I usually go, fucking,
Yeah.
let's do this. I'm probably not going to call you afterwards, but yeah, you can. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And that's like, thank
Rather
you.
than-
logic. I ain't calling you afterwards. We can fuck right now, but get out.
And women say that to me.
Can I Fuck you.
But I just want to point out, like, what Zara is talking about, because Zara is the epitome of a feminist man, and in that he doesn't force anything on anyone. It's like whenever you're in Zara's presence, you just be who the fuck you want to be, babe. It's totally cool, and I'm going to respect you regardless. And that's what feminism is to men. Like, a man that says, no, I'm a feminist, so I don't think you should do that type of stuff because you're going to get sexually objectified. No, you are in that moment objectifying that woman. So if you want to actually help with feminism and help with equality, get hands off and support the woman do what she wants to do and respect her fucking choices.
Yeah, that's a strong point.
Yeah, I like to get my boobs out, and I like to get free drinks. I have amazing. I spent $12,000 on these knockers, and they have
They paid for them already?
Oh my
Amazing.
goodness, they're amazing, and I will use them as I please. And if someone doesn't want to buy me drinks without knockers, that's cool, that's their choice. But a lot of men do, and I appreciate that. But I don't want a man saying I can't do that because I'm objectifying myself. Because it's my choice in that moment, and we just need more men to respect women, regardless.
That's the basic. I know what's better for you than you do.
Yes.
I mean, it's okay, babe. I've got this.
Yeah.
I will punch you so
I'm
fucking hard.
I'm going to rescue you from yourself right now, and you're like,
Ladies,
oh my god,
I think it's something
paternalism.
that we're going to deal with for a very long time. But
One punch in the face at a time.
Exactly. But I'd like to thank you for sort of sitting down and having that discussion. And Azaria, thanks for putting your input in.
We love you.
Do you need me to walk with you?
Guys.
Yeah, we'll walk you to the
I'm
car.
a
We got you
feminist
back.
spiritualist, hey baby, I'll pretend to be your friend for something else.
Just a wristy,
there's the
will be
line.
fine.
Howdy, folks. Today I'm going to be a criminal barrister. I've chatted to one, a legitimate one, apparently, and I've got a couple of answers. And we have an issue at hand, which is today, the random drug testing, which is cooking all over Sydney streets, worldwide, I would assume also. Perhaps some of these questions you would appreciate an answer for. And so, given that I am playing the barrister card, I'd like to put on my best shabut and pass it over to Azaria to ask some
Looks
questions.
very authentic right there.
Thank
And
you.
I'm here to ask some questions. The first one is, do I have the right to refuse a roadside drug test by police?
You have the right to do anything that you wish on planet Earth. However, there will be implications for everything that you do.
What about the universe?
Yes. If you refuse to take the test, man, you're just going to be dealt with in a harsher manner than if you were honest from the get-go.
Okay.
This is the fine art, or just art culture part of the program, and I actually feel, now looking at you, Simon, I'm completely underdressed. So is Azaria still here? Yes, I need your flouncy velvet scarf, darling.
Okay.
It's just culture vulture time. If you can arrange it.
This is just the cherry on top of an already beautiful cake.
Oh!
And if it helps you speak art and culture better, there you go.
Does that
Thank
help?
you very much, Azaria.
Do you feel
It
like I
helps.
understand what you're going to talk
I'm
about?
starting to feel more comfortable. I think this is, it looks good, Red work at the red light, everything's complimenting. So.
Now, Simon, you have lived in New York City for quite a long time, and you're quite the connoisseur of all things decorative and beautiful and emotive. Tell me, do you think that New York City is still the epicenter of the artistic universe?
It is the epicenter of the artistic universe just because of the sheer number of galleries, art dealers, art programs or art shows that are on there, the amount of artists who live there. However, a lot of the people who are dominating the art industry there and are making the great works like a Richard Serra or Jeff Koons or someone like that, these guys are all in their 60s and above. The city is now so fueled by extremely high-end money and high-end art purchases, especially coming from markets like in Russia or Saudi Arabia or anything like that, that it's very hard for young artists to go there and spend the 10 or 15 years required in a kind of bohemian environment to build their craft. You just can't afford to live in Manhattan anymore within sort of close range of those big galleries, those big dealers, those big art shows.
So you're saying you almost have to have made it before the time you get there, because otherwise you're going to burn and crumble very quickly.
You wouldn't even be able to get in there.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so you're absolutely correct. The market now has to mean that you have made it in a second city, and a second city really is something like a London, San Francisco, Los Angeles, or Paris maybe even. You have to have made it there before you even get a look in New York. Maybe that is just a kind of process of elimination for getting rid of the art that really shouldn't be there in the first place, but maybe that's too high a barrier to someone who is a great artist, or could have been a great artist, but just didn't have the finances or ability to get into that main area, to get into New York, the main game.
And who do you think is some of the best that's getting pumped out of New York at the moment?
There still are some phenomenal artists, and it's not the ones people think of. A lot of the artists people do think of, and I go back to Jeff Koons.
Yeah.
I think a lot of his art is derivative. A lot of it is simply copying the surrealists or some of the modernist movements in the 50s, Rauschenberg and that type of thing, or even the pop artists. So I don't think he's really as great as what people think.
He's not an entrepreneur.
Well, he is an entrepreneur. He's an entrepreneur. He's very good at making money. Each of his artworks will sell 20 to 40 million easy, and for a living artist, that's phenomenal. However, I don't think they're the big statements that in 100 years or 500 years are going to define our era. I think there's artists coming out of New York like Gregory Crewdson. He's probably the world's best photographer at the moment.
Oh
and yet
my
almost
God.
unknown.
Like, he honestly made my insides weep, and I know something went on with the top half of my body. You know what it is? It's like Richard Yates, but in a picture.
Yeah.
You know, that just like, I don't know, it's like 1950s sadness, but spoken of in 2007. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
and it's set in a very normal suburban reality, his photography. And there is something about it, about the frustrations of modern life, or the collapse of American society, or the tensions within American society. So it is an artwork that is both aesthetically beautiful and amazing, but at the same time saying something really deep that you cannot say in words about the state of America right now, which is what great art does.
I don't think anyone has seen any of these photographs and not just had like a physical reaction to it.
Yeah.
And there's something like it's something you want to be seeing in Technicolor. It's something you want to. It's so emotive, and I think it does what art is supposed to do, like get you feeling. It's not supposed to have the answer to anything, but he really, like, the photography in there is. It's not just photography. It's like a cinematic whirlwind. Like,
And when you see his, once more, a good artwork needs to be seen in the original. And when you see his artwork, his photographs, and they are like an 8 by 6 foot high gloss photo, and it looks amazing. It is, you are having an aesthetic experience. You're having an experience that you can't get any other way. That you didn't really think that you would have that reaction to it. And it is a visceral, it is a physical, it is an emotional reaction. And that's when you know you're hitting great art. That's, I think, one of the problems with the New York art scene at the moment. There's a lot of people trying to create what they're calling postmodern art or post-structuralist or whatever, and they're really just, for lack of a better term, they're putting crap in a gallery and hoping the context of the clean white walls and the highfalutin kind of location, be it Soho or Chelsea,
it's going to be enough.
Yeah, is to justify it. And the worst case of that was an exhibition in Soho, which I saw, which was just a room full of tyres, used tyres. And I went in there and it was like, okay, cool. Like the Dadaists did this kind of stuff back in the 20s, so you're about 70 years too late. But on top of that, the guy came over to me when there was a group of us there just going, this is unbelievable, this isn't art, I'm not really getting anything out of this, and it's derivative if it is trying to shock us through having tyres.
It does help to have big walls. I once lived in an apartment with a 6 foot by 6 foot painting of Lionel Richie's Hello cover. Like, I shit you know. And that was like, it's magnificent, but we had massive walls.
Yeah, that's it. There is almost a factor to you can put anything in a big white wall, in a Soho location, you know, with very well-dressed people curating it, and you will sucker a lot of the buyers.
Put a plate of cheese down,
Yeah,
and
put a plate
opposite
of
one, we're
cheese
like,
down.
oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
it's saying so much about our dietary requirements and what we eat. And where does the cheese come from? But and you're right. The context of the art can often absolutely trick and fool the people who the galleries are trying to sell to. They can be seduced by the fact that, oh my gosh, this is in Soho and it's worth $7 million and that guy's telling me it's art, I better buy it. When in reality, it's like, well, first up, do you personally have a reaction to it or an emotional engagement with it? And secondary, do you think this is going to be something that if you're going to spend $7 million on it, is going to hold up in 50 years or 100 years or whatever it might be?
Oh, look, it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm loving the fact that everyone's got taxidermy on the doll at the moment. There's always room for taxidermy. I was in New York once and almost spent a lot of money on a small black piglet, but that's for another time. But no, that's really cool. And do you think, just to end it off, do you think Sydney is also a place where people can start off, or they're a long way in the pecking order of London and Paris and Milan before they can hit New York?
I think Sydney, it can still happen because there's a critical mass of extra money in this city that people will and do buy art, and they enjoy buying art, and there's enough galleries here. But it really is, at the end of the day, just a stepping stone to something bigger.
Cool.
That said, I do love it when you get Australian artists, whether it's Albert Namatjira or Brett Whiteley or Donald Friend, who stayed here, made great art, and that art has persisted and survived.
Brilliant.
So, yeah,
Thank you very much.
no worries at all.
Thanks, Azaria, for the scarf.
If I test positive to drugs, will the police search my car for the drugs?
Police can search your car or your person if they have reasonable belief.
Can they slip into my asshole?
I'd like to hope so.
Oh, what's the laws? Like, when does it come to the point where it's like, spread them? Sorry, spread your legs and your cheeks, boy.
Yeah, they can do whatever they want, provided they have reasonable belief that there is, a good reason to do so. But no, they don't have to, and it's unlikely that they'd ask to do so. They've already fucking nabbed you, man. If you're reading positive, you go downtown. The next step happens down there, on site. Take it as you will, But follow your best instincts, and get a good lawyer in tow, and maybe a female judge might help too somewhere down the line.
Yeah, flutter your eyes, flex your muscles. Everything is all good. And police officers are people too. Just offer them a line.
Father Dave, a lot of people may not realise it, but back in the 70s, you're one of the few people, the few Sydney-siders who actually saw the original Ramones, the original lineup, live.
Mate, they're all dead now too.
Apart from Mark.
God rest their souls. Well, he wasn't the original because who was the original drummer? It wasn't Marky.
Tommy, wasn't it?
It was Tommy. Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
you saw the Ramones live. We've got some pictures which we'll show of you back then as a punk. What was punk really honestly like back in 77?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. I mean, look, it was about being angry for me. I think my mum died when I was a teenager, and I think I was going through a really bad space, but I was just full of questions and full of just feeling everything was bullshit in terms of, school, which I was still at, and but just in the social values and stuff like that, and then you get, the Sex Pistols coming out and saying, I spent 50 weeks of the year inside a factory, I want some holidays in the sun, and for their promo for Holidays in the Sun and this sort of stuff, and coming out and just questioning stuff, and being pissed off about it. And that just tapped right into where I was at the time.
It's damn good they were able to tour out here also.
The Ramones?
Yeah,
the Pistols never got here, which was a shame.
face-to-face connection with the people who they obviously touched.
Yeah, I mean, the Ramones were like, they were the ones, they influenced the Pistols, they were there before the Pistols.
Yeah, right.
They've influenced so many, they sort of just never climbed to that sort of height, But yeah, it's a shame the Pistols and some of the others never did make it out here. But yeah, I mean, they burn out too,
Well, the Pistols burnt out 4 years flat or something
ridiculous.
I think you sort of have to, either you sell out or you burn out.
Yeah, right.
And I think, Steve Jones and Paul Cook went and, did some commercial stuff, doing some stuff with Ronnie Biggs and all that sort of stuff, and that's, that's the path they went down.
Yeah.
Sid died.
Yeah.
Which is sort of, poetic in a way, but I mean, just tragic, really.
Absolutely poetic in a way. Well,
Yeah.
It's backing up everything.
Yeah, but it was tragic too, you know what I mean? It was a tragic figure, really. I mean, the whole thing, wasn't going to go anywhere.
I still do feel if you read any interviews with Johnny Rotten nowadays, he's really held that ethos.
Mate, he's kept his cutting edge. He's one man I would love to meet still.
Yeah.
He's one of the on my bucket list. Like, he's one guy I'd really like to meet and thank for the influence he had on me.
Yeah, right. So who's going to make the call? Let's make this thing happen.
It was interesting, a couple of years ago we were mucking around a band, I did something, the TV were filming it and I was doing Pretty Vacant, and they actually rang the Pistols or whoever, Johnny or someone, said, can we use this on Lonely Planet Guide, I think it was, yeah. Anyway, they said no, not having a fucking priest doing our song, I thought, yeah, fair enough.
Now, Father Dave, back in 77, what did a punk look like? Did they have mohawks? Was it colourful? If you rocked up at a club and you didn't have studs and leather,
it's a good question. I mean, look, we're jumping on a bandwagon that was there was the sort of US style, which was the Ramones leather jacket type stuff, and there was the sort of more British style, which is the sort of safety pins and rags, I think the Sydney scene was somewhere in between both of that. You know, I'd fallen in love with the Ramones first and had my leather jacket and, you know, tough guy stuff, you know, but yeah, I mean, it was an anger, I think, was unite us and disillusionment.
Bring your best anger.
As long as you were angry, you got in the door.
Anger and disillusionment, you know what I mean? But that's why it's not something that could last, you know? You can't, how do you maintain the rage, you know? In a sense, for me, the church was a natural progression.
Yeah, cool.
Because it's a way of maintaining the rage.
Yeah.
But
it's a romantic thing. What a brilliant sentiment.
On that note.
What happened to your... yeah, man.
Thank you very much for coming in, Father Dave. Awesome.
Thank you, brother. Good to be with you.
Thank you.
Good evening, and welcome again to Cooking with Madison. Now, this has just been exciting tonight in the Lock-In Kitchen, because not only have we got a plethora of vegetables and fruit at our disposal, but Madison has been sharing with us waste not, want not. Now, once we've juiced the life and the pulp and the smut from this lime, we can use it in our fruit cakes. We can, oh God, we can grate it into our cocktails.
Use it in our wardrobe. Don't just stop there. It's not all about consumption, young lady.
Oh.
It's all about what, you know, body adoration. I see a great bra. Perhaps not for me. I think I might need a rock melon, but you could do this. You could get away with that.
This is just, Madison, it's so wonderful cooking with you. Now listen, as we discussed last week, poor old Margaret after the bottle incident. Now she did come home from A&E, however she's going to need some tender loving care, which is what I was thinking, is to create her a lovely fruit basket or some kind of hat. Now what I'm really concerned about is fruit going to enough? Because clearly she suffers from some kind of unspoken
boredom.
Yes,
exactly. And I've been speaking to Margaret through the week, and we are going to be going ahead and producing a lovely fruit basket for her. But the reason why she turned her vagina and she hoovered out her vagina in the first place was because she hasn't been getting a lot of action in the bedroom.
Good God, but Derek's a wonderful partner and lover.
Oh, isn't he just amazing? But apparently it's just dead bedroom.
Really?
Really, and that's what turned her to the bottle, literally.
Is this a common problem, Madison?
Well, I think it's a bit more common than we think. Because the number of people that are out there, if you think only half of couples that have a dead bedroom situation, so generally only the high libido one that will go out there and publicly say, hey, my bedroom's dead, because the low libido partner will often minimise it and not really talk about the bedroom, not acknowledge its existence.
You think people aren't talking to their friends, or they're not even talking to each other, that this missing sex
Well,
is a problem?
I think that, you know, if you have a think about a high libido partner going to them and saying, look, love, like, our bedroom's dead, do you want to fix it up? To their low libido partner, well, that feels a little bit rapey, doesn't it?
It does feel rape, and of course people are going to jump onto defence.
Exactly. So what do we do with this situation? There's got to be more to it than, you know, hoovering out our vaginas with bottles after a dinner party.
Now, what does actually happen to a genuinely longevity loving couple when sex does come out of the equation? And possibly, we always imagine that when people are getting into their well past retirement age, fair enough, sex may go on the downfall, but this is happening to people in their 40s and 50s, even as young as 20s now, isn't it?
Exactly, and there is a part of our brain chemistry that will actually, lovely brains, will rewire our brain to see our lover as our sibling if we're not actually having sex with them every night.
Oh,
the
good God.
pheromones that they're giving off and the way that our chemistry interacts says, hey, this is part of my family, but it's someone I don't have sex with because I haven't been, so let's make them a sibling. And then we end up with these horrible situations where people just can't have sex with their most intimate partner.
Now, is this just a heterosexual couple, or are you finding this with two men will often return to brothers, and the same with same-sex females?
Well, I think it would happen, like it would happily be the same. It's not so much about a secondary sex hormone or a difference between the genders or the sexes. It's more a matter of a relational, how our, you know, even right now, my brain and your brain, our chemistry is talking to each other and telling each other, you know, how we perceive one another, whether we're friend or foe or what our relationship is going to be. So I don't think it's a matter of, you know, differences between the sex. I think it's just something that happens.
And what do you recommend then, Madison, to not so much light the fire of longevity, but like what do you recommend for couples who are in this weather, who still genuinely care for each other, but sex has become the elephant in the room?
Well, exactly, and this is one of the most common questions that people come to me, their high libido will often come, and Madison, please, you're known for this high libido. You flaunt it all over the internet. Please fix my partner. They don't want to have sex anymore. Make them have sex with me. And I say to them, well, what is it that you're not giving your partner? Oh, no, but I give them everything. I give them, you know, I do all the cleaning, I do all the cooking, I give them everything. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense to me, because I don't often hear partners say, oh, my partner is so attentive to my needs and they're so caring and our life is so exciting. They're always coming up with new ways to be romantic towards me, and I just can't see myself having sex with them again. It just doesn't happen. So what I know is that when the bedroom dies, that relationship has come back from a romantic and sexual relationship down to a friendship, or even further still, to a flatmate type of situation.
Oh my goodness.
I know, we're in dire straits there when that happens. And that's all because both partners aren't meeting each other's needs.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? I've traveled the world and the 7 seas, but everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to abuse you. Some of them want to be abused. I'm gonna fight them off. A 7-nation army couldn't hold me back. They're gonna wrap it off. They're taking their time right behind my back. And I'm talking to myself at night because I can't forget. Back and forth through my mind behind a cigarette. And the message coming from my eyes says leave it alone. Yeah. Made of these. Who am I to disagree? I've traveled the world and the 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something.